The Gold Coast, 1655. Less than 20 years after the Dutch captured Elmina, the Gold Coast was changing.
Gold still attracted merchants from across Europe, but another trade was growing, one that would leave a lasting mark on history. Welcome back, travelers. The year is 1655. Nearly 2 decades have passed since the Dutch captured Elmina Castle. Gold is still one of the most valuable resources on the Gold Coast, but something is changing. Quietly, another trade is beginning to grow. Trade here has not stopped. Gold, ivory, and other goods continue to move through these ports, but European colonies across the Atlantic are expanding. Large plantations producing sugar, tobacco, and other crops are demanding more labor. That growing demand is beginning to reshape commerce on the Gold Coast. This change did not happen overnight. It developed over many years. Gold remained important, but more merchants were now seeking enslaved people. By the middle of the 17th century, some coastal forts were becoming increasingly involved in the transatlantic slave trade. The history of this period is complex. Different African states responded in different ways. Some resisted. Some entered trading relationships for political or economic reasons, and many communities suffered devastating losses. Understanding this history means recognizing that there was no single experience across the Gold Coast. When Elmina Castle was built in 1482, its main purpose was the gold trade. Now, some areas of the fort are beginning to serve a different purpose. This transformation will continue over the coming decades. By the 1700s, many forts along the Gold Coast will become major centers in the transatlantic slave trade.
Thank you for joining me on another journey through time. History doesn't always change in a single day. Sometimes, it changes one decision at a time. Today, we've witnessed the beginning of that change. But next time, we'll leave the coast and travel inland to understand how ordinary lives became caught in this growing system. Until our next journey, stay curious, travelers.
The Gold Coast. As the demand for enslaved labor grew across the Atlantic, its effects reached deeper into inland communities. Families who had lived in peace for generations now faced a changing world. Today, Amma travels beyond the coastal forts to uncover how ordinary lives became part of one of history's most significant chapters.
Welcome back to Time Travel Ghana. In our last journey, we learned that the Gold Coast was changing. Today, we're traveling away from the coastal forts. To understand this history, we must first understand the people whose lives were affected. Long before many people ever saw the ocean, they were farmers, craftsmen, traders, parents raising families. These communities had their own traditions, languages, and thriving local economies. The 17th century was also a time of political rivalry and conflict. Some people were captured during wars.
Others became victims of raids or kidnapping.
Different regions experienced these events in different ways. Many communities also defended themselves and tried to protect their people.
For those who were captured,
the journey had only begun. They would be forced to travel many miles toward the coast. They didn't know where the road would end. But history remembers this journey.
behind every historical event, there were real people, real families, real dreams. History is not just about dates, it's about lives. Thank you for joining me on another journey through time. Today, we explored how the expanding transatlantic slave trade reached inland communities and changed countless lives.
History remembered is history honored.
In our next journey, we'll follow the historic routes that led many captives toward the coast. I'm Amma. Until our next journey, stay curious, travelers.
Follows the historic inland routes toward the coast, tracing one of the most significant journeys in Ghana's history.